Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue. Welcome online and in person to Concordia University's Fourth Space. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2023 Concordia 3-minute thesis, ma thèse en 180 secondes competition. To help get you situated, we are streaming to YouTube live from Fourth Space, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands here in Jargon, Montreal. At Fourth Space, we work with our university community to mobilize and exchange knowledge by co-creating daily activities, and we're thrilled to once again play host for the 3MT competition. It's now my pleasure to pass the floor to your MC and last year's Concordia 3MT Doctoral first place winner, Maxine. Over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. So my name is Maxine Yanuccelli, and I will be your Masters of Ceremonies for today. We would like to begin by acknowledging that Concordia University is located on unceded Indigenous lands. The Kanien'kehá:ka Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and the waters on which we gather today. Shokshogé, or Montreal, is historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations. Today, it's home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. Thank you both to our in-person and virtual audience for being here today to support our finalists. As a participant in last year's competition, I can appreciate the challenge and importance of translating research to a general audience. This year, I had the pleasure of being one of 3MT MT 180 coaches and got to follow this year's impressive cohort of participants from the very beginning. And I can tell you that you're all in for a treat. To our presenters, you all have worked so hard and put in the time and dedication to make it to this point. And now the stage is yours. Make the most out of this valuable opportunity to share your knowledge and your passion. Take the time to breathe, be present, and enjoy it. Let's start with a brief overview of the program that we have for you today. We're going to start off with the doctoral presentations in both English and French. We're then going to invite you, our viewers, to vote for the winner of the Doctoral People's Choice Award by completing a poll over Zoom. I'm going to announce the start of the poll at the end of our first round of presentations, but do keep in mind that to access this voting, you will need to log into the Zoom using the link that was sent to you when you registered. I'm going to provide further instructions and give you a heads up when that time comes, though. We're then going to continue with the master's presentations, which will also be followed by a voting period for the People's Choice Award in the master's category. Once the voting for the People's Choice is closed, the judges will take the time they need to deliberate our competition winners, during which time we will have a Q&A period together with our presenters to get to know them a little bit better, their research, and their 3MT experience. We welcome both our in-person and Zoom audience to keep your questions for this period. And finally, after the judges' deliberation, we're going to announce the winners, and you're all invited to stay afterwards to mingle and enjoy a little cocktail reception that we have prepared in the back. I would now like to welcome Dr. Rachel Berger, Associate Dean of Academic Programs and Development, to say a few words.
Thanks, Maxine. Hi, everybody. So we're delighted to welcome you to the 12th edition of the 3-minute thesis competition, ma thèse en 180 secondes, both of which will hold this afternoon. Over the past 12 years, the 3-minute thesis competition has brought much pride to Concordia. We, myself included, have had the pleasure of coaching students on their research pitch and being at the other side of the table judging their communication skills. We watch our students blossom from jargon-riddled, rambling, cryptic scripts to create compelling, thought-provoking, and inviting stories. Thank you to all of our coaches over the years. For those listeners who are turning into their first 3MT competition, I would like to take a moment to provide a little background on this international event. The annual competition started at the University of Queensland in 2008, but it quickly became a worldwide event. Now this competition is held in approximately 900 universities in 85 countries. The competition has also been adapted to other languages, including the French version that we'll hear today, ma thèse en 180 secondes. The challenge of the 3MT program is for graduate students to clearly communicate the essence and importance of their research to a non-specialist audience with just one static PowerPoint slide. Imagine after spending long months or years toiling away at your research, then having to squeeze it into a 3-minute summary without diluting it or omitting major points. It's a challenge worthy of any mind and any scholar. According to the University of Queensland, it takes almost 9 hours to present an 80,000-word thesis. And despite our growing ability to sit through 9 hours of the latest Netflix or Crave series, I doubt anyone is up for a 9-hour thesis presentation today, including myself. So this year, we invited all our graduate students to participate in the competition. 34 students joined the 3MT coaching, but only 16 finalists have made it to today's competition. After the presentation, our judges will select a winner and runner-up in both the master's and doctoral categories. You, the audience, will also have the opportunity to vote for a People's Choice Award in both master's and doctoral categories, which Maxine will explain after the participants' presentations. From our finalists, the judges will select one student to represent Concordia at the Northeastern Association of Graduate Schools, or NAG's 3MT competition in April, and the 3MT Eastern Regional Final competition in June. Our Francophone presenter will represent Concordia at the ACFAS competition in May. I salute all the participants for their courage to accept this in-person challenge, one that I would find very daunting, especially after a couple years of remote communication. I wish them the best of luck in their time to shine. Now I will invite Maxine back, and Maxine also is our doctoral first prize winner from last year's competition, third place winner at the Eastern Regionals, and one of the 25 finalists in the annual SURE Council Storytellers Challenge. Well done, Maxine. You've had quite a year. Yeah. So Maxine will come back and introduce our judges. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berger. I now direct your attention to our panel of esteemed judges joining us this afternoon, who have graciously accepted the responsibility of selecting today's winners. May I please ask you all to come and step to the front as I introduce you? Thank you. Our first judge is Dr. Andrea Shifawerova, is an associate professor at Concordia's Institute for Information Systems Engineering. She obtained her PhD and MEng degrees in industrial engineering from l'École Polytechnique de Montréal and BEng from Silesian University in Czech Republic. Her area of expertise encompasses management of science and technology, scientometrics, and economics of innovation. Her current research involves using artificial intelligence and big data analytics to explore innovation ecosystems while focusing on various aspects such as dynamics of innovation networks and collaboration, gender-specific patterns of disparity in science, and early detection and transformation of emerging science into technology. Our second judge is the chair of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at Concordia University, Dr. Marc Lafrance. His research and teaching pertain to two key objects of inquiry. First, mass media representations, and second, body image and body modification practices. Lafrance explores how each of these objects is bound with phenomena such as gender, sexuality, race and class, identity and lived experiences, and human vulnerability across the lifespan. Some of his current research projects include heterosexual masculinity, and emotional expression in popular music, and extreme men's rights activism as it intersects with the rise of far-right identity politics. He works in English and French and collaborates with researchers in Canada, England, Germany, Norway, and Sweden. And our third judge is the Program Review Advisor in the Office of the Provost, Dr. Shalini Bell, who is also a part-time professor in the Department of Psychology at Concordia University, currently coordinating the Future of Teaching and Learning project. She describes herself as a passionate educator committed to maintaining excellence and accessibility in higher education. Her combined administrative and teaching experience allow her to serve as an effective mediator, able to reconcile competing interests of faculty and administrative leaders. She is also active in her local school board and advocates for families whose children are experiencing racial discrimination. She is a founding member and current chair of the Anti-Racism Subcommittee of the English Montreal School Board's Parents Committee. She's a Jamaican Canadian and has been living in Montreal with her husband and 3 children for almost 5 years now. We thank you all for the time you're taking this afternoon and are honored to have you as our judges today. Welcome. So we're about to begin our presentations, but before doing so, I do want to highlight the rules of the competition and provide some information as to how the presenters will be judged. So the participants are going to have 3 minutes to present their research. Any presentation that exceeds this time will be disqualified. Participants are only allowed 1 static slide, which is going to be displayed on the screen. No animation, no use of additional electronic media or props are allowed. And the judge's decision today is a final one. Judging will be based on 3 main criteria. Comprehension. So did the presenter clearly convey the research and its impact? Engagement. Did the presenter capture and maintain the audience's attention? And communication. How did they deliver this presentation? Was it understandable and accessible to a general audience? And to what extent did the slide complement their presentation? And finally, the prizes. So both our first place winners in the master's and doctoral categories will receive an award of $750. The runners-up in each of the categories will receive $150, and both the master's and doctoral People's Choice Awards will receive $100 each. And finally, we encourage you all to share your impressions today, support and promote each other on social media using hashtags Canada3MT or 3MTCU2023, and tagging us at GradProSkills on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now, without further ado, let's start the doctoral presentations. So we have a total of 11 presenters in this category, 10 in the English competition, 3MT, and 1 in the French competition, MT 180. And as we get ready for our first presenter, let's put our hands together in encouragement to really wish them all our participants, a good luck today. Our first presenter is Arwa Hussein from the Faculty of Arts and Science. Arwa is pursuing a PhD in religion. Her thesis title is Religion, Self, and Community in the Lives of Dawoodi Bohra Women. And 3-minute thesis title is Covered, Not Bound. Good luck, Arwa.
What is the first thing that you see when you look at me and the woman in my picture? Is it what I'm wearing? This is called a rida, and is a kind of hijab worn by the women of a small Muslim community called as the Dawoodi Bohras. It is an unfortunate reality that Muslim women who wear any kind of hijab are subject to harmful stereotypes and biases. Oh, what if she influences our children about Islam if she teaches them in school? She's definitely being forced into it. We must save her. And although many Muslim women have tried to challenge these assumptions and talk about their lived experiences, their voices are not heard. As a Muslim woman who covers, I also felt disappointed with these narratives. And so I set out to challenge them with my research. Drawing on 3 disciplines, anthropology, religious studies, and communication, I conduct digital ethnography. But what does that mean? It's easy. It just means I use social media platforms like Instagram to connect with young Bohra women who create content on life within this religious community. I then conduct Zoom interviews where we talk about their lives, the challenges of having a visible religious identity, and how social media helps them tell their stories. I decided to focus on my community not only because the Dawoodi Bohras live all over the world, so the variety of locations enriches my research, but more importantly, allows me to include my own experiences and challenges. Through their life stories, these women show how their decisions are rooted in love for their religion and their community, For them, the Rida is just an outward expression of their faith and identity as believing women. My research gives important insights into the lives of Muslim women that goes beyond the lens of hijab. More importantly, it shows the need to confront our assumptions about religious beliefs and practices, such as veiling, which may seem oppressive to us, but are very different in the lived experiences of the communities that do them in order to create more inclusive societies. Perhaps then, fewer Muslim women will fear losing their jobs or even their lives simply for choosing to wear a hijab. We deserve that much, for we are covered but not bound. Thank you.
Thank you, Adwa. Our second presenter is Ray Zheng from the Gina Coady School of Engineering and Computer Science. Ray is pursuing a PhD in civil engineering. His thesis title is Investigation of Turbulent Flow in Transition by Large Eddy Simulation. And 3-minute thesis title is Urban Flood Defense, Water Jump. Good luck, Ray.
10 years ago, a flood in Concordia caused $6 billion damage, and which is the amount enough to build 4,000 new clinics in Montreal. 2 years ago, 300 people, they were trapped underground in the subway during heavy rain and died. Flooding in cities is a growing problem, and one of the causes is actually related to the sewer pipes. These are the pipes, they are underground. They constantly collect and send dirty water and the rainwater from the city to the nearby rivers. However, the water in these pipes, sometimes they can suddenly jump a little bit to a higher level and then block the pipe. You heard me right. You can jump, I can jump. Water can jump too. It's actually a phenomenon quite common. Every time you open the faucet, we will see that water hitting the bottom of the sink, and then they jump a little bit in all the directions, circumferentially. But why does the water jump in the pipes? Do you know the pipeline connecting our home and the nearby river is actually not a straight line? It has to turn both horizontally and vertically because of the up and down of the city roads, especially in hilly areas, just like in Montreal. So when the water in these pipes, they jump a little bit because of the turning of the pipeline, they will block the pipe. And then when the water is blocked in the pipe, dirty water may burst out like a fountain or volcano, a dirty water volcano. To understand more about this phenomenon, I used a very powerful computer to directly visualize how the water moves through the pipeline. I can determine the pressure, the forces acting on the pipe walls, the speed, how fast the water goes, and the water level at every single point in this pipe. So after the computation, my results can show directly where exactly the water jumps. It can either be in the steep part or the more horizontal part, or even exactly at the location where the pipe turns. It really depends on how much water there is and how steep the pipe is. Using my thesis, engineers, they can predict if the dirty water volcano occurs or not. They can accordingly make the pipes bigger or steeper at certain locations before they really lay the pipes outside under the road before the construction. In conclusion, my research lowered the chances of flooding in cities, make our city safer in front of heavy rain next time it rains heavily. We don't have to be worried about being trapped underground or leaving our homes. With all the water safely directed to the nearby rivers, every day can be a sunny day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Our third presenter is Jone Mandefro Belaye from the Faculty of Fine Arts. Jone is pursuing a PhD in social and cultural analysis. His thesis title is Neighbor Relationships in the Emerging Condominium Neighborhoods in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And 3-minute thesis title is Let's Build Communities, Not Just Houses. Good luck, Jone.
We all know the value of communities and strong connections, but How can we keep communities strong when a city is experiencing rapid disruptive redevelopment? This is a question that emerged after I visited a friend's place in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia 10 years ago. Rahel was showing me around her new 2-bedroom apartment in a government-built condominium neighborhood like the ones you see on the right side of the screen. She's one of the 2 million people in Addis Ababa that have been resettled to these condos from inner city slum areas like the ones you see on the left side of the screen. Through this process of resettlement, Rahel got a new house, but also new neighbors who, like her, have been assigned to that particular neighborhood through a lottery system. My research asks how the changes, like the ones Rahel experienced, impact the social fabric of communities. I'm particularly interested in understanding the strengths of neighborhood relationship and the experience of living in condos. I lived in one condominium neighborhood for 6 months and conducted interviews, focus group discussions, and participant observation. My research findings show that people do appreciate the better quality of the houses compared to the kind of houses they used to live in the past. And women in particular benefited from better facilities, such as kitchens and water taps inside their house. But the distance location of the condominiums from inner city or the city center, where job opportunities are located, means that people have to travel a lot and spend more to get to work, which also means they have less time to interact and build a connection in the neighborhood. Furthermore, the lottery distribution of the houses dismantled people's social networks, and a lot of people told me they feel isolated and lonely. This shows that the government's condominium housing program is fragmenting and weakening communities in Addis Ababa, a city that historically prides itself for having very cohesive communities where people from different ethnic groups and income groups live side by side. Through my research, I'm exploring ways to make this condominium housing redevelopment program to be more inclusive, just, and equitable, and more importantly, less disruptive. And by doing so, I aim to make families like Rael's live in vibrant neighborhoods, but also convince the government to build communities, not just houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Hone. Our next presenter is Amir Nizami from the Gina Coady School of Engineering and Computer Science. Amir is pursuing a PhD in chemical engineering. Amir's thesis title is Thin Film Interface Materials for Lithium-Sulfur Batteries, from Machine Learning to Practical Application. And his 3-minute thesis title is Finding the Needle. Good luck, Amir.
Imagine, for a moment, a massive haystack standing in a green field on a bright sunny day. Now, envision each strand of hay as a possible metallic coating material. The goal of my research is to find the best coating for the sulfur cathode, the positive side of the battery. That coating is the needle. It will enable lithium-sulfur batteries to be more powerful and longer lasting. Today, the world is waiting for a breakthrough in rechargeable batteries that power everything from our mobile gadgets to electric vehicles. Why care? Why now? 2 words: climate change. We need innovation in energy storage to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. Batteries play a crucial role in our transition to renewable energy. Let me put things into perspective. For centuries, scientists have relied on the trial and error method of experimentation. Successful results can take decades. Due to global warming, we don't have half a lifetime to develop next generation batteries. Given that I have no intention of being a PhD student forever, how do I sift through the materials and accelerate the research process? 2 words: machine learning. The first step of my thesis is to teach the computers to sort through the haystack. Through machine learning, computers learn by example. They can find which traits lead to strong performance. They recognize patterns and predict the best codings which humans may overlook. The second step of my thesis involves making thin layer coatings of the top candidates. Each sample is applied to the surface of the cathode. With my computer results and the laboratory successes, lithium sulfur batteries can be available in years rather than decades. As consumers, we can look forward to charging our phones just once a week. Researchers will no longer have to rely on the guess and check method, and I won't have to waste my time rummaging through a haystack on a green meadow on a bright sunny day. Thank you.
Thank you, Amir. Our next presenter is Galia Shamaile from the John Molson School of Business. Galia is pursuing a PhD in business administration. Her thesis title is Digitized Healthcare Services, How Mental Healthcare Platforms Shape Therapy. And 3-minute thesis title is Touchscreen. Good luck, Galia.
Do you remember the spring of 2020? The COVID pandemic was just starting to dig its claws into our daily lives. In May of 2020, Tina was helping her child set up the laptop for a Zoom session with her physics tutor. Her partner had just gotten off an online meeting with their financial advisor. Tina put on a presentable shirt, fixed her hair, and prepared herself for a Skype appointment with her therapist. Did you have days like Tina's? Yeah, I think a lot of us did. We were stuck at home with our families, roommates, what have you, using technology to meet with service providers whom we traditionally met with in person. I investigate the impact of technology on these interpersonal services. And the context that I focus on is the service that Tina is seeking, mental health care. I conduct my research through 2 methods. I explore the layout, structure, and technical features of online platforms that bring together therapists with their clients. And I also interview both therapists and clients about their online experience with therapy. I analyze my data in order to best interpret how these platforms are reshaping the interactions and the relationships between therapist and client. In my preliminary findings, I find that the increased distance between a service provider and the client makes it more difficult for the therapist to maintain control over their session, both at an emotional and a physical level. However, the same distance impacts clients differently. For instance, Tina feels comfortable by being at home and having the screen as a barrier between herself and her therapist, and so she feels more at ease to speak about negative experiences. However, on the other hand, Tina's therapist, when they talk to their other client, Dylan, this distance becomes a barrier in between the therapist and the client, where Dylan, when asked about difficult experiences, will avert eye contact or pretend to mishear questions. And in that case, the client is using technology that's meant to bring them together with their service provider to behave in an emotionally avoidant manner. As we can see from these 2 clients' opposite experiences with the same platform and the same therapist, we can safely conclude that the success of these types of services is a shared responsibility between humans and machines. And with my findings, I hope to help application developers best adapt their platforms to interpersonal service providers and their clients. And I also hope to show these service providers how to maneuver their way around these platform features in order to control their sessions and to keep their clients engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Galia.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Y.A. Juarder from the Gina Coady School of Engineering and Computer Science. Y.A. is pursuing a PhD in Information and Systems Engineering. His thesis title is Enhancing Security in Next Generation Quick Protocol. And the 3-minute thesis title is Cyber GPC Features Quick. Go fearless online. Good luck, Y.A.
Hello everyone. Let's start with a little magic. I'm sure many of you have seen the movie series Harry Potter and fantasized casting magical spells against dark forces. Today I'm really excited to present my AI-driven cybersecurity model that will work mainly ensuring your privacy to that your whole privacy is unlocked. Just imagine internet as a Hogwarts magic school and my quick wand, Cyber GPC featured quick. You can consider it as your magical wand. Then just think about cyber attack like how Voldemort did the attack in the movies. So my main goal is the tackle powerful casting magical spell so that no Voldemort in real life can breach your privacy and as well as give you fast and smooth, super fast internet communication. I'm working on creating a cyber GPC that is a one type of conformer. So by using that conformer, I'm trying to sort it out the online threat automatically. Let's try how is it working. My quick wand cyber GPC is just like working as a machine brain with some automatic machine influenced intelligence so that it can detect the online attacks and just to produce the prevention techniques automatically. Nowadays, privacy is the main concern in most of the people in our world. We can use our cyber GPC not only in our current world but also in our future world called metaverse. Metaverse is a extraordinary invention that is combine the virtual reality and augmented reality together, where you can explore the digital experience with the help of high-speed internet and as well as strictly protected privacy as well. So in the present world as well as in the future metaverse, my magical wand will work to maintain your privacy with the security. So to end up, everyone, please be with me with the future digital world. Thank you.
Thank you, Waid. Our next presenter is Mohammad Abdalreza Zadeh from the School of Graduate Studies. Mohammad is pursuing a PhD in an individualized program in fine arts. His thesis and 3-minute thesis title is Blossoming from the Cracks, Fostering Empowerment and Creativity in Unhoused Communities Through Pop-Up Art Hives. Good luck, Mohammad.
Imagine a community space. Someone enters and starts dancing. At the corner, a person with white long hair is knitting free hats for the community. At the table, a writer with a flat cap is talking about the recent story and how they develop the fictional characters. Outside the window, some folks are camping on the street. Sitting on the side while a violinist is playing the unhomely rhythm of the city. These are a few snapshots of my work and life experience with unhoused people in the city of Montreal. The traditional and dominant approach views homelessness with widespread stigmas like lazy, criminal, drug addicted, or mentally ill. These misunderstandings can lead to significant discrimination and reduce their access to the public services. Critical scholars and activists advocate a strengths-based model that encourages active involvement of unhoused people in developing programs and policies, viewing them as potential, not risk. Instead of looking at the cracks, asking, what is the problem? It looks at the blossoming flower, asking, what is right? It's about engagement, not intervention. It's about understanding, not diagnosis. Empowerment, not control. Among strengths-based tactics, there are emerging art-informed practices. However, their effectiveness is not clear. In my research, I examined the role of art for empowering unhoused people. I organized pop-up archive sessions in the familiar and comfortable spaces of unhoused people. During these sessions, we talk, make art, build communities, and respond creatively to the things that matter. I observe and analyze the power dynamics among the participants. My current findings show that art-informed and embodied practices have great potential to build authentic and truthful relationship between unhoused people and social workers. Unlearning our assumptions is the first step to understanding homelessness. As researchers and practitioners, we must build creative and safe spaces for unhoused people to transform their own potentials, ideas into sustainable and democratic solutions. If you are in trouble, your hopes, dreams, and strengths are the only drivers of the change. We need to approach homelessness the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Our next presenter is Andrea Cartile from the Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science. Andrea is pursuing a PhD in mechanical engineering. Her thesis title is A Knowledge Management Framework for Aircraft Design and Development. And her 3-minute thesis title is Computer Models for the Airplane Design Process. Good luck, Andrea.
Many of us grow up dreaming of science fiction, but what are some of the reasons we can't yet book tickets on an air taxi? Designing new airplanes is expensive, costing over $7 billion and taking well over 10 years to develop. So why does it cost so much and take so long? A commercial aircraft has over 700,000 parts and contains millions of lines of programming code. It's worked on by companies from all over the world involving thousands of experts across many different disciplines. And this process generates a monumental amount of information, from 3D drawings to programs to process to meeting minutes and emails. And by law, airplanes have to be safe. And part of that safety is ensuring that all of this information is linked or traceable. As airplanes have become more complicated, we've developed software tools to try and help manage this information. But we still have several challenges, one of which is that the software tools have difficulty communicating with one another. An everyday example of this would be if I were to make a social media post on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and I would make a mistake. I would then have to go into each individual platform and correct that mistake one by one because these platforms are not linked. This may be manageable for social media, but when we're dealing with 700,000 parts, this can get very complicated very quickly. What I should be able to do is press one big button and get access to any piece of information on an ongoing airplane design program. That technology does not yet exist. And to get there, we need a better understanding of how the airplane design process works. So similarly to how a house requires a blueprint before it is built, a software tool often requires a computer model to tell us what the software needs to do and how the software needs to do it. My research aims to bring us closer to that big button reality to get access to any piece of information on an ongoing airplane design program by having a better understanding of how the airplane design process works today. I'm using two main modeling techniques. The first is called ontological modeling, which is used to structure language and knowledge within a field. And the second is called unified modeling language, or UML, which is a popular design technique used to create the blueprint or architecture for a software solution. I'm working with two aerospace companies where I get to check my models against ongoing airplane design programs to make sure that my models are correct and useful for the aerospace design industry. One of the areas my research will likely impact will help add structure to a complex process and help integrate tools like AI into the aircraft design process. And who knows, maybe one day we'll go where no person has gone before.
Thank you, Andrea. Our next presenter is Aristofanis Soulikias from the School of Graduate Studies. Aristofanis is pursuing a PhD in an individualized program in arts and engineering. His thesis title is Sensing the City, Revealing Urban Realities and Potentials Through Handmade Film Animation. And his 3-minute thesis title is A Human Touch for the City. Good luck, Aristofanis.
We sit in front of our computers, we spend hours looking at them, working, getting entertained, getting in touch. Sometimes we get creative. We architects like myself, we design buildings on them, make these fine renderings, buildings of all kind of shapes. Of course, there are some people in there, we throw some in there, copy, paste, pretending they enjoy the place. And then when you go to these places where the buildings are actually built, there are no people. Just steel and glass, copy, paste. This is what city officials and developers had in mind when a little more than 10 years ago, they decided to demolish an entire row of historic buildings along the Main on Montreal's Boulevard Saint Laurent and replace them with these glass towers. They were going to kick out all these people. A real neighborhood, just dismantle it. But their plans were somewhat derailed. The images you see here are from the making of my animated documentary, Last Dance on the Main, in which I told the story of how the burlesque dancers of this endangered venue resisted expropriation, won over the bulldozers, and their building is still standing. I made the film out of paper silhouettes on a light table, all made by hand to express the real, the physical, the human element of the place. And it was more than just about preserving architecture. It was about preserving a way of life, a piece of Montreality, moralité. And people connected when they saw the film. They connected with the story and they connected with the place. Can these handmade techniques change the way we see, design, or even live in cities? So this is my exploration in my PhD. Just as hand drawing is recognized by recent research as an important means in communicating and conceiving, of course, architecture, well, in the same way, I'm looking into ways in which handmade film animation can be an important medium in communicating that neglected touch in our cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Aristofanis. Our next presenter is Zubi Sadiq from the Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science. Zubi is pursuing a PhD in chemical engineering. Her thesis title is Gold Nanoparticles-Based Equipment-Free Sensors for Environmental Monitoring and Disease Diagnostics. And 3-minute thesis title is Lab on a Tablet Sensor for On-Spot Stress Testing in Population. Good luck, Zubi.
Stress, stress, stress. Everywhere is stress. 1 in every 3 adults suffer from severe stress. You might have experience of physical stress, work stress, or emotional stress. Similarly, oxidative stress exists in everybody. Oxidative stress is the accumulation of high amount of oxygen-containing free radicals. Free radicals are chemical species that break cells, tissues, and damage DNA, leading to several lifelong diseases such as cancer. Hence, timely detection of oxidative stress is highly important. Does any of you bother yourself to go a lab and test your oxidative stress? I believe no one, if you are good with your health. However, if a lab comes at your home, you will surely measure your oxidative stress. Here, my research comes in, a novel lab on a tablet technology. Okay, let's mimic a test. Take a pre-measured volume of urine sample, add a tablet, shake, and wait for a minute. You will notice a color change from red to blue depending upon your level of oxidative stress. So, my tablet sensor works, add, shake, and read. My research is unique because lab on a tablet technology produce user-friendly, inexpensive tablets that carries the whole lab inside. Results are instant and can be interpreted just by a color change from red to blue. That means my school-going kid or my grandma both can measure their oxidative stress at home without any help. By the way, if your stress is high, use antioxidants. My research methodology has two steps. One is the fabrication of the sensor by conversion of tiny gold particle solutions into a tablet like an Advil pill. Second is the detection of the disease indicator like free radicals in case of oxidative stress. We evaluate the sensor's performance in our lab according to the WHO guidelines. My research will promote the on-spot testing in social sciences in society because tablet sensor can be used by anyone, anywhere. Hence, it takes less than $1. My research aims timely self-testing of oxidative stress before this stress causes cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Zubi. This concludes the English doctoral presentations. Notre prochaine présentatrice pour ma thèse en 180 secondes est Alicia Ania Piechowiak de la Faculté des arts et sciences. Alicia complète son doctorat en éducation. Le titre de sa thèse est l'analyse des programmes d'accueil de talents issus de l'immigration par les PME manufacturières québécoises en région. Le titre de sa présentation, ma thèse en 180 secondes, est l'essence du moteur économique. Bonne chance, Alicia.
Selon vous, quelle est la part de PME au Canada? C'est-à-dire des petites et moyennes entreprises, celles qui comptent moins de 500 employés. 98% des entreprises canadiennes sont des PME. Ces PME font face à une pénurie de main-d'œuvre paralysante qui est accentuée en région et qui a coûté le Canada l'année passée plus de 1,4 milliard de dollars en pertes d'impôts uniquement du secteur manufacturier. Des pertes qui ont un impact sur notre capacité de financer nos routes, nos écoles et nos hôpitaux. Pourtant, il y a des travailleurs qui peinent à rentrer sur le marché du travail. Les immigrants, mais 61% déménagent à Montréal, Toronto et Vancouver. C'est pour cette raison que mon étude s'est penchée sur les défis et méthodes d'attraction, d'intégration et rétention des travailleurs en entreprise. J'ai donc développé un outil stratégique pour les PME. Et contrairement aux autres études, la mienne tient en compte deux points de vue. Celle des PME manufacturières en région, ainsi que les immigrants qui y travaillent. J'ai recruté 4 entreprises, recueilli des notes de terrain, interviewé des directeurs d'entreprise, les travailleurs immigrants et non immigrants. J'ai effectué une analyse qualitative et il en est sorti 4 éléments. 1. Les PME en région prennent de plus en plus en charge les frais et responsabilités d'intégrer les immigrants. 2. Pour améliorer la rétention, elles doivent offrir une culture qui favorise l'entraide, la communication et surtout le développement professionnel continu. 3. Le milieu de travail est essentiel pour la francisation et pour apprivoiser la culture locale. Et 4, comme une de mes participantes me l'a expliqué, on parle tout le temps d'accompagner la personne, mais il n'y a personne pour accompagner l'entreprise à le faire. Mon guide explique étape par étape les meilleures pratiques pour attirer, intégrer et retenir les travailleurs immigrants. Un outil qui peut aider les PME à reprendre le souffle dans leur voile et nous permettre de mieux financer nos services publics.
Merci, Alicia. This concludes the presentations in the doctoral category for both the 3-minute thesis competition and ma thèse en 180 secondes. Thank you to all the presenters for their inspiring presentations. Great job, everyone. We will now take a few moments to vote for the People's Choice Award in the doctoral category. So now I invite everyone in person and over Zoom to vote for your favorite presenter. So to do this, you're going to need to log into Zoom with the link that was sent to you at your registration. And everyone's going to get access to the same poll, those in the Zoom room already and those in person. We're going to give you just a moment now to do so before we actually launch the poll. And to those of you already on Zoom, just hang tight. Once the poll does open, it will remain open for a total of 5 minutes. You just need to select one presenter as your favorite and submit your response. And we'll then be back with the master's presentations. All right, everyone, we're back. Thank you for your attention and your engagement up to this point. We're now ready to move on to the master's presentations. In this category, we have 5 presenters. And just like for the doctoral presentations, we're going to follow up with a voting session for the People's Choice in this category. So let's get right to it. Our first presenter in the master's category is Ria Dutta from the Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science. Ria is pursuing a master's in software engineering. Her thesis title is Diversity Awareness in Software Engineering Participant Research. And her 3-minute thesis title is Like Clean Hands, Diversify Your Research. Good luck, Ria.
Thank you. Are soap dispensers racist? Most automatic soap dispensers don't work for dark-skinned people like me. I know, sounds unbelievable. But it turns out that the software technology used to detect our hands only works on white hands. This is the perfect example of bias in technology that is used by all of us every single day. This bias makes technology only available to a certain group of people and not society as a whole. If the researchers of this technology had tested their products on a more diverse set of participants, such as people with different skin tones, this issue could have been avoided. This is why I investigate if and how software engineering researchers consider the diversity of their research participants. To do this, I look at the most influential software engineering research papers from the last few years. Interestingly, most of these research papers do consider diversity. But then why do we have software bias, you might ask? Well, this is because the examined studies differ a lot in how they consider this diversity. Most software engineering studies only report professional diversity, such as occupation or work experience, but they overlook social diversity, such as age, gender, or race. This is important because considering social diversity can prevent us from creating non-inclusive products, such as racist soap dispensers. I also found that most software engineering studies only initially use diversity to describe participants, but not for further analysis. What this means is that studies seem to report diversity just to tick a box rather than say why this is important or how this affects their research. For example, saying why considering the occupation of a person using a soap dispenser might be more important than considering the color of their skin. This is why I provide guidelines that us researchers can use to make our research more inclusive. I also provide a model that can be used by any of us to assess how much diversity is truly considered in any software engineering participant study. With my work, we can make software and technology that can benefit all of society. And finally, all of us of all colors can have cleaner hands when we use public washrooms in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. Our second presenter is Megan McManus from the Faculty of Arts and Science. Megan is pursuing a master's in health and exercise science. Her thesis and 3-minute thesis title is The Heart-Brain Relationship. Good luck, Megan.
Thank you. Did you know that your heart health has a lot to do with depression? Up to 45% of people with cardiovascular disease also suffer with poor mental health, because mood is a sensitive thing. For example, just consider the recent time change and how that extra hour daylight makes you feel. For sure, these are external cues, but comparatively, it makes sense that a central control system like the heart would affect the brain as well. I think we all know someone that is struggling with their mental health. This is a topic that's close to my heart because I worked in a long-term care residence home where I met this one woman named Eleanor who had heart disease. She opened up to me on how she was struggling physically and mentally, and all I wanted to do was help her. Unfortunately, although I realize that talking about depression is super important, it's not enough to solve the problem. This is where research comes in. The question we need to ask ourselves to better treat the disease is what is happening between the heart and the brain that is leading to depression. Mood has a lot to do with how much blood is being delivered to the brain. Think of it as your sprinkler in the summer that's watering your grass. If the grass is not getting enough water, that means it won't grow properly. The same concept applies to the brain. If it's not getting enough blood, that means it's not getting the oxygen or the nutrients that is required for its optimal function, which can be leading to the development of depression. I will be using mice to understand the specific mechanisms that link the heart and the brain on a cellular level. Why use mice? Firstly, not many people are willing to donate two of the most important organs of the body, and the knowledge can translate easily to humans because mice are similar to us, making it an accessible way for us to understand the heart-brain relationship on the microscopic level. It is this cellular understanding that will allow for the development of new medication, more efficient medication to treat depression and cardiovascular disease. I will be making these findings by assessing depressing-like behavior, by studying self-care habits and motivation, and then I will relate that to heart health using exercise testing and ultrasound heart imaging. Because just like a lack of water negatively affects the grass, I expect that reduced blood flow to the brain will be leading to depression. It is by determining the cause of depression and cardiovascular disease that we'll be able to lower the incidence. Because in the end, these diseases can affect anyone. Bringing it back to my friend Eleanor, it's through my study that I will discover new mechanisms that make up the heart-brain relationship that will unlock treatments for someone like her to make one step closer towards happiness.
Thank you, Megan. Our third presenter is Armin Nabai from the Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science. Armin is pursuing a master's in computer science. His thesis title is Enhanced Multi-Scale Feature Extraction Using a DCNN by Proposing Dynamic Additive Soft Margin Softmax for Face and Motion Detection. And his 3-minute thesis title is Reliable On-Road Facial Expression Recognition Model. Good luck, Armin.
Whether you are driving to work or running to the grocery store, it's just another routine task. So it's easy to get distracted. The problem is we tend to forget how big of an issue these little distractions create, especially when distracted driving accounts for 25% of all modern vehicle crash experiences. Near 6,000 people are killed every year due to drowsy driving. According to reports, inability to control emotion is a serious factor against driving safety. There are many studies related to the impact of emotion on driving behavior, road rage, and crash experiences. Driver's emotion affects driving performance, and it's closely related to traffic accidents. For example, anger increases the risk of driving, while sadness or nervousness reduce driving concentration. You receive alert when signs are detected, and a recommendation is made to pull over to get a coffee or take a break, or some emotional states like anger or stress can be handled with soft music or soft light on dashboard. Beyond this take, in the near future, another alert will be shared with around vehicles under IoT sustainable solutions for connected cars to predict potential safety issues. Computer vision-based deep learning are extensively applied for facial expression recognition and emotion monitoring, although their weak performance for online scenarios. My thesis proposed a novel, scalable, unique framework based on deep learning for facial expression application. To design this model, innovative learning algorithms to obtain saliency for a subtle classification applied based on two objectives. First, enhancing the capability of neural network to extract effective information and find related facial patterns. Second, some modifications applied to ease computation and penalize non-related data for a faster and more precise learning. Finally, we demonstrated a promising perspective for this work by reaching maximum accuracy on 3 widely used facial expression benchmarks, and for the future, we will develop this work on multimodal emotion detection framework based on video and audio. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Armin. Our next presenter is Parush Bamra from the Gina Coady School of Engineering and Computer Science. Parush is pursuing a master's in mechanical engineering. Her thesis title is 3D Modeling Support for Aircraft System Safety Analysis. And 3-minute thesis title is, Are you ready for takeoff? Good luck, Parush.
Imagine this aircraft waiting for you. How many of you will immediately grab your seat? Your first question might be, how safe and reliable is this? We take a flight believing that our aircraft design is based on solid foundations. It's not a leap of faith. And safe flight can only be made possible with a rigorous safety assessment process. However, during the aircraft conceptual design, safety analysis is typically considered later when the configuration and placement of systems like engines, fuel tanks, wires, etc. is almost finalized. It has been shown that such early design fixations not only lead to suboptimal aircraft designs, but catastrophic failures. Like the one in 1996, when a flight going from New York to Paris exploded minutes after takeoff. Reason? Improper placement of wires in the fuel tank, which led to a short circuit and fuel tank burst, killing all the 230 passengers on board. My research focuses on increasing the conceptual design maturity by performing certain safety analysis early to prevent such catastrophes. These are known as zonal safety and particular risk analysis. Unlike the current airplane designs which have been perfected over decades, unconventional designs like these present new challenges. But why do we care? The passenger traffic is expected to double by 2036, which raises concerns about the aviation industry's environmental impact. This has triggered researchers to find more efficient designs like this one, which would be powered by hydrogen, electricity, solar power, etc.
But you might not board this plane, which might be extremely good for the environment, but does not guarantee your safety in the event of lightning strike, bird hitting the engine, or engine bursting. Here's where my research comes in. I model these failure scenarios, and my tool automatically performs this analysis to check the proposed aircraft configuration, whether it meets the generic safety requirements or not, so that I can ensure the safety of passengers like you. This way, we can accelerate the transition to next generation airplanes safely, so that the next time you see this airplane, 20, 30 years from now, it is from your airport's window and you are ready to take your seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Paroush. Our final presenter of the day is Christopher Dagger from the Faculty of Arts and Science. Christopher is pursuing a master's in theological studies. His thesis title is How the Christian Views of the End of Times Impacts Every One of Us. And 3-minute thesis title is The End of the World. Good luck, Christopher.
Imagine a man named John, sitting in his living room, watching TV, until breaking news interrupts his programming to announce that all existence will shortly be wiped out. Have you ever been worried the world will end soon? With everything taking place today, you have every right to feel concerned with how much attention the media has drawn on earth-shattering phenomena. One special word summarizes all of your concerns, and it's the core of my research: eschatology, the study of future outcomes. The Christian faith has influenced our culture by centering all of its teachings on one thing: your salvation. But disagreements among Christians persist on how people get saved, and saved from what exactly? Do we get to heaven by God's grace, only through faith, like evangelical Christians claim? Or should we match that faith with good deeds, like Catholic Christians believe? But salvation is not the only point of contention. The question of my thesis deals with another disagreement issue. What are the end-time views of Catholics and evangelicals, and how does that affect our society? Catholics follow the Pope in Rome. Evangelicals are more Bible-centered. Here, I look at the conflicting views on the Bible's last chapter, the book of Revelation, portraying Jesus Christ's return onto earth to save all the good people and judge all the others. In accelerating the end times, some evangelicals feel urged to usher in God's kingdom before Christ's return. But Catholics don't subscribe to that, since for them, Christ's death and resurrection has already set God's kingdom in our world in full sail. So, I read many books about Christianity's socio-political influence on North America, and I visited Catholic and evangelical churches to interview their pastors and collect their thoughts. Guilty as charged, though, both groups have sometimes hurt our politics by opposing democracy, progress, and other liberal ideas. On January 6th, 2021, the invasion of the United States Capitol showed us how violent behaviors emerge when people get possessed by extreme ideas. Therefore, when fringe groups influence politicians, it leads to terrible outcomes affecting everyone. But hey, our society has not only been negatively touched by such groups because, on the bright side, more moderate Catholics and evangelicals have built institutions like Caritas, Christians Against Poverty, St. Michael's Hospital, and universities like Concordia to ensure a bright future for all of us. In sum, the end of the world with all its supernatural events has shaped the imagination of many religious groups. And regardless of your religion or beliefs, I leave you with a quote from the poet Geoffrey Chaucer: "All good things must come to an end." So, when the world will cease to exist, will you be left behind like John in his living room? Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. And that concludes the presentations in the master's category and for the day. Thank you to all the presenters for their excellent talks today. Let's give them a final round of applause. We now invite our audience again to take a moment to complete the Zoom poll and vote for your favorite master's presentation for the People's Choice Award. So just as before, you need to log into the same Zoom with the same Zoom link to access the poll, which is going to remain open for 5 minutes. And we'll then be back to again with the question and answers period, Q&A. And when the judges are ready, I will invite them to excuse themselves for some privacy as they start their deliberation of the winners. Well, welcome back, everyone. While our judges deliberate, and while we settle back down to our spots, we're going to start our Q&A period. So while our judges deliberate, we're going to welcome questions from the audience for our presenters. So we invite you to either ask them about their research, their 3MT experience in general. Just raise your hand, we'll provide you with a mic. Or if you're in the Zoom room, just put in the Zoom chat and I will read your question to our presenters, okay? Anybody have a first question for our presenters?
So I have one for Zubi. It was so fascinating. How long, it must have taken a lot of trial and error to figure out how to put everything into a tablet. What did you think was the hardest part of that for you?
The hardest part to understand you people about my research. This is the most hardest part. Like for the lab, I'm quite comfortable. I know how to optimize my tablet for the male, for the female, for the age group. Like we know everything regarding standard protocols because we follow the WHO guidelines. But to make you understand in the simplest word, this is the most hardest part. But we optimize it according to the age group, according to because stress level changes with the dietary habits, even with the exercise, even it fluctuates within a person so many times. So no doubt it's tough, but 3MT is more tough.
Thank you, Suvi. I'm going to ask the presenters for the following questions, just for our Zoom audience. If a question is directed at you or you do want to provide an answer, just to come to the front, stand at the same spot as you presented in and to respond. Anybody else? Any other questions? Maybe I'll follow up with a question to all our participants. What did you find to be the most challenging about this competition, and how did you overcome it?
I think that Zubi actually summarized it perfectly. What was challenging was, yes, explaining to a general audience, but I think we're all so passionate about what it is we do. And there's so many layers that afterwards we had to say, okay, but what do we leave out? And that was heart-wrenching. And how did we deal with that? I think it was really practice and just thinking over and over, what are the main points I want to get across? And the rest, well, they'll ask me some questions.
Thanks, Alicia. Anybody else? Yeah, Ria.
Thank you. I'm sorry, my heart is still beating. It's very stressful, but it was good, but very stressful. Thank you. Thank you. Great audience, by the way. Thank you so much. I wrote it down so I can formulate my sentences. The hardest part for me, I think, was truly realizing the greater impact of my research, I think, because I feel like we're always in our research worlds and, we're being expert in these like very small areas. So sometimes we tend to forget how powerful our work actually is. And like another thing for me was, I'm so used to talking to people in my lab who are all software engineers. I forget sometimes, I take certain facts or certain things like for granted that people might know. So just like talking to or doing my speech for people that were outside of my field really made me realize, oh, maybe not everyone knows that soap dispensers can be racist, So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ria. Anybody else? Yeah, Ray.
So hello everyone, my name is Ray and I would like to share with you my experience of participating in the 3MT. So I think the biggest improvement is that I kind of conquer my fear. I feel more comfortable when I'm speaking to a big audience. I can do tutorial session or lab session in front of my undergraduate students for 45 minutes or 1 hour, but I still feel nervous when I'm standing here somehow. I don't know why. So I think I feel more confident in doing public speeches. And secondly, I think my teaching skill also improved. Before I was mainly focusing on deliver the content in time and just to cover all the teaching plan. But now I think I also focus on, do you understand me? I can look at you in the eye. Do you know what I'm talking about? I focus on the communication more. And thirdly, so when I was little, I really wanted to be on TV. And today I finally made it. So I'm on YouTube. So hello, YouTube and Zoom. And lastly, I would like to thank my coaches, Arsenio and Maxine, and all the guest coaches, who's Yakina and Gina, and Madame Savard, who's not here today, and all the participants. Every time you give me feedback, and I think my script changed a little bit. So at the beginning, it's just a research paper, but little by little, we made it to a script for more general audience, for other people to understand easily. I think is a skill that I need to have to be a professor or lecturer somewhere in Canada. So, and I also want to thank you for all your encouragement and all your affirmation, because I'm at a very difficult stage of my life. I also want to do a commercial. I'm looking for jobs right now. So if you have any connections of civil engineering, hydraulics, or CFD, please refer me. I'm really good at it. I need an opportunity. So thank you for all your encouragement.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks, Ray. And it was an absolute pleasure working with you too. We do have a Zoom question. So it's for Zubi, actually. So Zubi, if you want to come back up to the stage. So thanks for the presentation. You mentioned you may provide a tablet for less than $1. I wonder how I lost the question. I wonder how it is possible by using the gold nanoparticles platform.
Thank you very much, whoever asked this question. Actually, I myself want to speak a lot about my research, and the questioner gave me a chance to speak more about that. Actually, gold is expensive. You know, I don't know what's the price in the market now. And the gold nanoparticles are actually made from the gold, but at the nanoscale level. If some of the scientists are listening to me, they would definitely know, yes, they are more expensive than the actual gold that we wear. But they are more precious than the actual gold that we use. We prepared the solution. So the solution we prepared, for example, 25 ml. From 25 ml, we cost by hand because we are working in the lab, and in future, our technology, when the tablet technology will be produced in bulk, there will be definitely automation. But in our lab, we produce 1 by 1, casting each tablets from 25 ml. I guess I use 100 microliter or 200 microliter. So you can imagine from 25 ml how many tablets we can cast. So it's hundreds and hundreds. So it's 1 tablet used for one-time testing. So it's really cheap, even less, like it's a few cents. If you like, you can contact me directly for the rate, how we evaluate, but sooner in the paper, we will publish it, how we estimate the cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Zubi. Yeah, come up, Christopher.
Well, hello. So I'd like to highlight an underlying secret that I had to really grapple with over the last month and a half, just preparing the 3MT thesis. I have a pathological obsession with perfection, right? Like like these past few weeks, I was driving in my car around and rehearsing. And just like any, just like a Hollywood actor, I would if at some point in the script, I would screw up, I would basically stop, cut, restart, stop, cut, restart. And one very important thing that I learned in this whole experience was not to be too hard on myself, right? So I accepted and I came to terms with the fact that nothing is perfect. Even the outcome wasn't necessarily 100% perfect. And I promised that I would promise the audience something when I would show up to present the 3MT. I promised that I would not do a presentation. I promised that I'm gonna give these guys a show. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Christopher. Any other presenters want to share their experience? Then maybe I'll throw another question at you, or if there's any other questions in the Zoom, feel free to put them in the chat. Are we doing? Are we sure? Okay. I'm wondering, similarly related to the experiences you've been sharing, what advice would you give to people, students, who are interested in participating in 3MT in the future, but are hesitant, or they might fear public speaking, or they're shy, or they just believe they're simply not ready, or their research isn't at the point where it's ready to participate in such a competition? What advice would you give them? What would you tell them?
Hello again. I was hesitant and shy, and I am still hesitant and shy, but I did it. And yeah, and I think that it really works to try it. The coaches and the structure provides great tools for you to just narrate your research and communicate your research with lay language and touch people's hearts, minds, I don't know, somewhere. And I think that generally there is a problem in graduate studies that we rarely take natural feedbacks from other disciplines or other social groups. And 3MT really provided this great infrastructure that students from other faculties give feedback from how you do your research, how you present your research, and you build a new connection with your research through the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, come on, honey.
So I am still hesitant too, but I think I want to encourage everyone to take the challenge. For me, the experience from this was it takes multiple drafters for you even to be comfortable what we're going to share to the audience. And this process gave me that opportunity to refine the script and take it as another opportunity to kind of have the dialogue with you, which is necessary through this research process, but you have coaches around you to kind of help you serve as a springboard to test some lines about your research, but also to practice some other skills such as presentation. So I think the process is really important in speeding up some of the thought clarifying conversations with yourself that you might keep postponing unless something like 3MT happens. So it forced me to kind of reframe some of the conversations, some of the writing I'm doing for my dissertation as well. So think of it not just as another competition, but as an opportunity to really develop your own research. And I think the presentation skill is important, and that in and of itself is worth exercise to develop. But for me personally, the more important element was I had to go through this process to have the kind of lines I'm using now about my research, and that was very helpful in speeding up my thinking process. I think that's what I would say.
Thank you, Hone. Any more advice? Yes.
Yes, I think I can talk about through my personal path.
and challenges. And of course, I was supposed to do this, but I'm really happy I did. And I would definitely advise anyone who's hesitant to go for it. To overcome, even for myself, for example, memorizing. I don't know if you can relate, but I think this sounds trivial, but memorizing a 3-minute speech is something I don't think I've done since I was in primary school, memorizing some patriotic poem. I mean, I haven't memorized. So I thought I wasn't good in memorizing, and now I know that it's feasible, it's done, it can be done. The challenge is to fit in those 3 minutes and not miss some very key words because of the limit, right? So this is a very good exercise for everyone to be, let's say, a public scholar, to be able to communicate the research, because we're all scholars, but it's great to have that first, first-hand experience in presenting live. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Let's check the Zoom. Then I'll follow it up with another question. Oh, yes, we do have a question. Thank you.
I'm not sure if it was mentioned, but how much time did they have to work on this?
Does someone want to come up and talk about their process of the 3MT? Thank you, Edward.
Hi, so it takes around, I don't know the number of hours, right? But it takes some time to develop a script. We have 2 or maybe 3 online sessions with the coaches, yes, where they take us through and we get feedback not only from the coaches, but also from our peers as we slowly, first we are introduced to the kind of steps, how to focus, how to develop a pitch, what kind of research questions should we focus on, and then we have multiple iterations of it, which we present in front of our coaches and our peers. We get feedback, and we constantly are developing the script over 3 sessions. And then we had 1 in-person session where we, again, presented, got feedback. Then we had a dry run where we kind of came into this space and saw how it was going to go, kind of drive up our nerves a bit and maybe calm them down a little bit before the event. And yes, then the event itself, I would say it takes around usually 12 to 15 hours of work. That's more.
Thank you, Edward. Other questions? Then I'll follow up with another one. How do you apply to actually use these skills you've developed through your 3MT experience in other aspects of your life? Some of you have touched on this with presentation, but anyone else want to share? Yes, Andrea?
I'll take one for the team here. So one of the things that we are often talked to about is this concept of elevator pitches. So this is really popular in the whole entrepreneurial kind of business pitching, venture capitalist realm of existence. But it's very useful to be able to concretely or to minimize what you're doing to its essential elements so that you can explain to somebody in a very short period of time what it is that you're doing. And I'm pretty sure that's a wrap.
Thank you, Andrea. So yes, it does seem as though we're just about ready to announce our winners. Before I do give the floor to the judges, let's one more time give a round of applause to our participants for their presentations today. You really should all be proud with the work you've done and the skills that you have developed throughout this process. You're all leaving here winners. I would now like to invite, we're going to do, so each judge is going to present, we're going to present categories one at a time, starting with the master's, then the doctoral, then the people's choice. So I'm going to invite Dr. Shifa Awarova to come up to the front and announce the winners and the runner-up of the master's category.
So I start with masters, and I have to say all of them were fantastic. It was difficult, but we have ended up with two. We have winner and runner-up. So let's start with the runner-up. So it is Parush Bamra. And the winner is Ria Dutta.
Congratulations.
So thank you very much. So we are going with the doctoral.
Congratulations. Thank you. Now, Dr. Lafrance, if you would please join me to the front to announce the doctoral winners and runner-up.
Well, I can only reiterate what was just said by my colleague. These were fantastic performances, so really all of you should be patting yourselves on the back. Absolutely wonderful work, so poised, so focused, and frankly, very motivational. Congratulations to all of you. So we will start with the runner-up, and that is Andrea Cartile. Congratulations. Congratulations. And it is my great pleasure to announce as the first prize Anglophone presentation, Mohammad Abdelreza Zadeh. And last but not least, Alicia Anna, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And Dr. Bell, I'm going to ask if you'd please like to come up to announce the People's Choice Award for both the master's and doctoral categories.
So congratulations to all of you. The People's Choice winner in the master's category is again Ria Dutta. And the People's Choice winner in the PhD category is Aristophanes Soulikias.
Congrats. Well, congratulations to all our winners, all our participants. Thank you again for all the participants for sharing your research with us today. We'd also like to thank our judges for generously offering your time and accepting the challenge of choosing the winners. A special thanks to our coaches and guest judges over the course of the competition, including Nafin Yang, Rachel Berger, Gina Beltran, and Michel Savard. And a huge thank you to Javier Ibarra Isasi and Rasha Sheikh Ibrahim, working behind the scenes from the very beginning to make this whole event possible. Thank you to the audience for being with us to encourage the innovative research being done at Concordia University, and to Fourth Space for their generous support and hosting of the event for yet another successful year. I'm now going to actually pass it on to Anna, who I think is going to be the voice in Zoom, who's going to guide you through the closing remarks. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and it was an absolute pleasure to be your MC for this event.
Thank you, and thank you, Maxine, for that wonderful job as our MC today. Such a pleasure to work with you and have you back here in Fourth Space this year. Everybody online, thanks you for all your comments. We will be sharing them with our participants. Congratulations to all. And finally, I'll say what a wonderful way to spend a Friday afternoon. See you all back here next week for take 2. Is this gonna happen at all? No takers? Any takers? All right, folks, we'll close up the Zoom now and wish you a very great afternoon. Bye, everybody.